Thank you for joining me. My name is Mark and this is Wild Earth, broadcasting live from Djuma Game Reserve. We are about to do our afternoon safari. I've got great news for you in that we're going to have somebody else joining us shortly, coming up this road, as well as the fact that it's a beautiful summer's afternoon. It is probably the height of one's enjoyment in the bush, is when everything is still growing, the grass is still fairly short, it's going into middle of summer. It's a perfect day. Little bits of cloud that are shielding the sun from time to time, and well, a lovely vista across most of the Djuma area that we cover. And we've had a few issues with our other vehicle. For those of you who are joining us, we normally have two vehicles out in the afternoons and most mornings. But some of those issues have been resolved. I'm not going to get into details because what we want to do is we want to go out and find animals. And because we have both myself and Alex that are going to be going out on drive today, this is going to be our first double drive for a while.
Hello.
Hi Alex.
How you doing, mate?
Good, and you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good. So Alex.
Hi everybody. How you doing?
Good.
Right. Okay.
Right, we're ready to roll.
We're going to go for a roll around.
Alex and Jason on that camera, myself and Brian on this camera, and hopefully there are going to be some animals out. Hopefully we're going to have some fun. I'm going to venture a little bit further to the west of us, and Alex, well, you can head off. You're going to have a look around, scratch around here on Boyatella and see what we can find on this part of the world. So follow me. Let's go for a drive.
Okay. Right. Have a good one.
No, not you. You don't follow me.
Oh, no, I'm going to follow you, but have a good one. See you later,
You
guys.
too. I forgot to mention something. I want Alex to get a head start. We're not going to take the same roads. We're going to take completely different roads. Up here on my hat, okay, I've got to keep my head still. Oh, she's starting to move again. I'm going to take my hat off, sorry. Stay on the hat, not on my head. Where's she gone?
I think she's underneath.
Yeah, she's next to my thumb. So, while I'm at it, Brian's just going to show you that vista. I'm going to take this restless little scorpion that just stung me a few hours ago. I'm just going to put it back in the grass. No. Oops. I forgot about my earpiece. I hope I haven't snapped anything. Good. Seems to be a little piece that came off, and hopefully I can put it back together again. There we go. I thought I'd keep the scorpion on me, well, on the hat, just to show you. I was hoping it would stay there a little bit longer so that I could explain a few things about scorpions, because they're such misunderstood little creatures. And well, it only stung me because it was in my hat and I put my hat on. I was stung in the forehead, sort of this region here, and for the first 2 hours it was smarting quite badly, and then the pain started subsiding, and now it's just a tingling. For a while it almost looked like I guess that's what Botox looks like. It almost looks like I had half my forehead Botoxed. And I had a visit from an old friend who used to be the head ranger at Arathusa, who was over in the Sabi, well, this part of the Sabi Sands. He normally works in another part of the Sabi Sands. I haven't seen him for a while. He popped in for a visit. So if we can get that butterfly. No, we can't, because it's, well, back again, but it's might be an open. No. Okay. The butterfly is known as a blue pansy. Anyways, Ryan was here, came for a visit, and just before he arrived, I put my hat on when I was going outside, and immediately felt what was quite clearly a scorpion sting. I've had a few of them, so I know what it feels like. Fortunately, not a very venomous scorpion, not a very dangerous scorpion, but I suppose a little bit worse than your worst wasp or bee sting. Well, bees are not as bad as some of the wasps or hornets. I'm fortunate, I guess my body doesn't really react much to these things other than feeling the venom. For a while some of the pain crept down into my masseter muscle on the side of my face, but that only lasted about 10 or 15 minutes. Just to explain to you what it's like, because very often you have that kind of a question. It's not that bad that I can't wear my hat now, although there's still a tingling sensation. The skin is a little bit sensitive to the touch, and who knows, maybe you might find my brain was somewhat affected as the afternoon wears on. If I start slurring my words or hallucinating, or none of that's going to happen. None of that's, I'm just joking. It's not a very dangerous scorpion, but as you can see, it wasn't a very big scorpion. And the one misconception that also exists is that the size of the scorpion is the intensity of the sting, and well, that's not really true, because there's a very big scorpion that has a most venomous of all scorpions that we have in South Africa, and there are other scorpions that are just as big as it that are harmless. So it's got nothing to do with the size of the scorpion. It's got a lot to do with the skeleton of the scorpion. And I wish I could find scorpion skeletons the way that I find beetle and other skeletons. Unfortunately, they become disarticulated very easily and very quickly. But perhaps I could find one as the summer wears on. Otherwise I'd have to show you pictures. But there is a hard and fast rule that you could follow, and you probably wouldn't go wrong, because there are very few, although in nature in general there are always exceptions to any rule, but in scorpions you can be pretty sure that if you follow certain basic principles of the strength of the scorpion's venom versus the strength of the, or rather the lack of venom, the one thing you can do is you look at what makes up the scorpion. Being in what we call an arthropod, or a segmented creature, the scorpion has an outside or external skeleton, and so with creatures that have external skeletons, the bigger the bulges, the bigger the, I suppose much in the same way with our internal skeleton and outside musculature, external musculature, it kind of works the same in that in the segments of any of the insects, if there are very big bulges in the segments, that means that there is a lot of muscle in there to be able to operate those segments either very fast or very powerfully. And if it's very, very narrow, it's quite the opposite. And so you apply that same sort of logic to the scorpion world, and you'll find that there are kind of three groups of scorpions that you have to be concerned with. Well, actually only two out of the three, because there's one group of scorpions that maybe some of them can sting like a bee, or maybe not as bad as a bee, but they have a very, very mild sting, if any venom at all that is effective on humans. And the way you can tell is that these scorpions have very, very crab-like pinchers, and they have a very, very narrow, almost as thin as their legs. Their tails are very, very narrow and very, very weak. But even then, the little bulb and the little sting, that little curved sting that you get at the end of the scorpion's tail, it's normally rather blunt, and it's really only administering a sedative in terms of venom. Oh my word, look at this beautiful kudu bull. I'll have to get back to scorpions because we've got a big kudu bull to look at. He might be one of this bachelor herd we've been seeing that has about 5 of them. One with a very narrow spread. There's one bull with a very wide spread, his horns. And all 3 of these bulls, the big bulls of this group, have varying twists to their horns, so it's wonderful to see the different genetic variations, including the stripes on their backs. And then there was a young bull accompanying them, but so far he looks like it. No, I can see movement. Something might come out onto the road behind him. I don't know, my radio's dead, so has Liam said anything? I think my radio's dead. Just checking. No. This would be a kudu bull in his prime. Incredible musculature. The dorsal crest that sort of rides the curve of the muscle above his shoulders, which grows also with age as his horns grow and as his neck thickens, because that is the muscle known as the nuchal muscle that carries the weight of the neck and the head. Balances it, has 10 muscles and tendons, so that even at rest there's no strain on the neck being able to carry that heavier head. I don't know what it would weigh, but it's certainly with the muscle capacity of the neck and the size of the head with those horns. He probably stands my height at the top of his dorsal crest. 5'8", 5.5 feet. In his prime. Magnificent. This is a group of antelope we call the spiral-horned antelope. This is the bull with a very narrow spread. There is another bull. What I mean is that the 2 horns are fairly close together. Because it's genetic, there are bulls that have their horns much more of a V, much wider open. And then what else there is that twist in the horns. The spiral, the corkscrew. Quite a diverse group of antelope, the spiral horn. The biggest of the spiral horn is the eland, which can weigh over a ton. The smallest being the bushbuck, I think, would be the smallest. Includes Nyala, Setutunga from wetland areas like the Okavango Delta and parts of Zambia, the bongo from Central and East Africa and West Africa. Up in Uganda highlands in the mountains there's the mountain Nyala, and in some plots there comes another bull. I knew there was movement at the back there. There's another one of them. So this might be that bachelor group. See how when you arrive at something you think there's only one, and one questions why is he alone, and when you wait and you sit and things happen. So I think this might be that group of 4 or 5. Let me move a bit. Heading deep into the Tambuti forest. Tambutis, especially the green leaves, Tambutis are generally considered poisonous. They have a milky latex that is, especially to us humans, poisonous. There's another one. There's that big one. Wow, that's the boy with the very big spread. Just a cursory glance in our direction and then back to feeding. We're obviously not a threat to him. It's really wonderful to do this because quite often kudu are very shy, especially big bulls. Over the years, now these are obviously generations that have grown up without hunting, but in my childhood to see a kudu bull of this size was quite rare because they were hunted so extensively for trophies when they got to this size. Gloria! Hello Gloria from Arkansas. Gloria wants to know when the rutting season is for kudu. Gloria, they don't really have a season, kudu. They are not like impala that what we call maybe crash breeders would be a term to use. But we still get him through there.
You go forward a little bit.
No real season for kudu. You find kudu cows might have calves different ages. These boys will move around together in a bachelor group, and at some point they might come across a cow group with a cow in estrus. They might become quite competitive, especially two of the larger boys within this group. I would say that this big one outcompetes all of them. I'd say that he has this advantage of having a much wider spread, but I'm guessing. If it was a disadvantage to have your horns closer together, then we wouldn't have such a magnificent bull that we saw earlier. So it's hard to really tell who would have the advantage, whether it's a wide horn or a narrow horn. They might have something to do with the selection of the females. I don't know if I can I'm going to have to start up and try and turn back so that we can see him. No. Just heading off after his what would we call them? Brethren, brothers in arms, cohorts. But it just looks like he'd have an advantage with having those wider horns of getting an edge in when it comes to sparring. A very warm day after some rain and grey and cold. I was wrapped up Even this morning I had a couple of layers. Quite a radical temperature change, humidity change. So I'm sure a lot of animals are enjoying the shade at the moment, and maybe we'll start creeping out of the woodwork as we drive along. The sun starts going down. Lovely waning crescent moon up in the sky when we woke up this morning, and I guess we're getting close to new moon, so there's a very good chance that this weather might close again and close in again. But as far as I'm concerned, this is exactly what this environment needs. It's vital that all this growth that is happening continually fed. Oh, what did you want to catch, Hornbill? It landed in the road with a purpose, and they found something that it's feeding on. Could be termites. I need to have a look at that. So, excuse me, Hornbill, if we could just squeeze in here, maybe get an idea of what you're eating without disturbing you. If that's going to work. Maybe I'll just stop here. Just catching the corner of the vehicle because we are quite close to it, and it's ordinarily it would fly up, but there's clearly a food source there that is overriding its sense of, well, there is, if there is any fear, kind of, I'm hungry, I want to eat. The only thing I can think of is that they're termites, maybe harvested termites. There are not many termites that venture above ground, even at the best of times. The only ones that are a species known as harvested termites, and they harvest grasses. Very often this time of the year when it's damp and moist and rain to come, they'll be doing that because they'll make these or I suppose hay beds underground that promote fungus, and fungus promotes all sorts of things, gives them the resources they need to maintain the colony. They're fungus gardens. I'm curious now because yeah, it's feasting. So now I want to go and see what it is. They'll probably fly away, but it'll come back once we leave. Can't see a thing. Maybe it was pretending. So I can't see anything. That might have interested a hornbill for that length of time. Looks like there's a starling, also two starlings, at the top of that little dead leadwood. Looks like they were also interested in seeing what the hornbill is. One flew away and one... There's this very same hornbill that just flew in up to the starlings. Yeah, behind that main trunk. Beautiful ornamental tree. When you see trees that have died over time or a long time ago and lost most of their branches, the smaller branches, it's the main skeleton that is left, and sometimes they will stand for decades. Some of the big leadwoods will still stand for hundreds of years after they die because the wood is so dense. Okay, hornbill's coming back to a tree above us, so I'm sure it wants to come back to whatever it felt it was finding. I couldn't find anything in there. Bye, children. So back to the arachnids known as scorpions. Yes, scorpions are arachnids. They are related to spiders in that they have 8 legs. Their pedipalps, what spiders have as pedipalps, scorpions are modified to form those pinchers. They are just sensory organs. Much like pedipalps are designed to feel, so are the pincers of a scorpion, and that they're modified to be able to assist with catching prey. And so you get the scorpions that have these really big crab-like pinchers, and you have to understand that if they're really big and fat, then they've got to be really, really strong, because there's a lot of muscle inside there, like a bodybuilder. And when you find a scorpion that has very, very fat pinchers, you'll find that the tail of that scorpion, as I was saying, I think that's about as far as I got, was that these thin-tailed scorpions, their tails are as thin as their legs. Little Franklin running in front of me. Off you go. Go there, through that pathway. Yes, there you go. Bye-bye, child. So with the tail about as thin as the legs, and sometimes, especially with some of the rock scorpions that actually do not even have a sting, those scorpions are the most harmless, because all of the power is in the pinchers. And then of course it's the opposite with the more venomous scorpions. The more venomous scorpions, their pinchers are very, very puny. They're about as thin as their legs. You can see that there's not really much that they're going to hold on to. So they need this very powerful tail, which they have, which is almost as thick as the body. Very tight segments, very round, bulky segments to the tail. And the tip of the tail has this huge bulge which carries the venom gland, and this curved hypodermic needle that they use to inject their venom. And so it's pretty easy. It's not the size of the scorpion. You get very big dangerous ones and very small dangerous ones. This was the one that I had on my hat was maybe overall in its body length maybe an inch in body and an inch in tail, so a total length of maybe 2 inches maximum as a full-grown adult. There's a baby terrapin in this little pond. For some of you turtle lovers, I think I'm in the sun now. Oh, there it is, just out of the shade. There's a little, almost hatchling terrapin sticking its nose out of the water. Sure we'll get to see one better at some point. Looks like a tiger beetle coming to the edge of the water. Maybe the terrapin will go for it. It's moving towards us, talking like a crocodile. The beetle's gone now. Not too sure which species of terrapin there would be. Pan hen, he's about to get out of the water because we're coming by. That is a tiger beetle, just by the looks of things, just off to its left. Not interested in it. I think the terrapin's more concerned with us driving by. Of course, they gather algae and silt on their backs, so they don't really have much of a colour. I think if it was to be... Sorry. I just drove away while you were zoomed in. It would be like an olive green colour if some of them sort of a drab brown, if one didn't have the algae and all the silt that grows on the back of the terrapins. That allows them to pretty much blend in with their backgrounds when they're in the water. Not that there are that many predators of terrapins from the aquatic side of things. Some eagles and ground hornbills, some birds might go for them, and of course the odd leopard likes to play with the terrapin, as we've seen in the past with some of Karula's cubs. Question time. Questions at WildEarthTV, by the way. Send your questions to us. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. You can send questions through Twitter. And I've been rambling on all afternoon. Time for some questions. There was a tortoise running across the road. The leopard tortoise. Good afternoon, Anne. First question of the afternoon from Anne. Hello, little tortoise. We're going into four-wheel drive to get up that little slope. See if we can get a good camera angle. Get good enough. The mottled colouring of this tortoise is how it gets its name, leopard tortoise. It's also known as a mountain tortoise. They are pretty good climbers despite the awkwardness of the shell, and quite resilient. Anne was asking if animals react the same way to insect bites and venom, I suppose, stings and things. It depends. Anne, it really, that's a big depends. Of course, something like some of our snakes that have quite potent neurotoxic venom or cytotoxic venom, the way they affect us would be sort of doubled in a small animal, because the being a mammal, the blood is reacting to the protein of the venom in very much the same way that we do. Because it's a much smaller creature, it's like as a chameleon in this guarri tree. I'm going to have to walk there and point it out to you, because I've gone behind a branch. Why we don't see chameleons during the day, because as soon as they see us, they thin out and they go and hide behind a branch. But this one caught my eye as it was hiding. You got it? Yep. There's no point in hiding now, because I've seen it. Hope you can make it out there. Might move forward into the sun because it might be feeling a bit exposed, but we'll give it a minute. It's got to catch its breath after this experience with the hand, up where I put my hand. Is that the closest?
Yeah.
It's okay, it might come out into the sun. You can see its eye turning, just sort of the right hand third of, right in the middle and the right hand third of your screen. Starting to move very, very slowly as chameleons do, waving as though the wind were moving a leaf. Somebody wanted to see a chameleon during the day. I remember that, and it's coming into the sun. Now normally when you see chameleons on documentaries, it's a chameleon that they've got in a controlled situation where they would put a cricket on a leaf and be able to film it. This is live chameleon. We don't know what it's going to do. If an insect lands there, it catches it. If it doesn't, it'd be pretty difficult to follow it through the branches of this quarry, because although it's out in the open now, once it moves into those leaves, it's going to be almost impossible to see. What I'm really pleased about is that when I first approached it, its body was very round and what we call dorsoventrally flattened, and now it's stretched out very, very narrow, which means that it's relaxed. They have different postures when they are going into aggressive mode or defensive mode. I'm going to try and drive forward, Brian, so that we can, because you're going to start getting obscured by branches and leaves. And if I go a little bit forward, if the chameleon doesn't mind, we'll get another view of it as it climbs into shade. How's that? Almost vital that a chameleon moves in this manner, because one of its main predators are snakes, in particular a couple of snakes that are arboreal. One of them being the black mamba, the other one being the boomslang. Both of them highly venomous snakes, and both of them, that sort of to continue talking about what I was talking about earlier when I asked the question about how venom affects animals. The potency of the venom of one of those snakes kills a chameleon pretty quickly. And the way that those snakes hunt is movement. And by moving almost imperceptibly, very slowly, the chameleon can sometimes move around in the same tree as its predator without being seen most of the day. Camouflage does help, but unfortunately with reptiles, movement is what spurns them on to strike and to hunt. I think I need to move again. I'm going to try and go forward a couple of inches. This is putting Brian's camera work to the test, and my see how it's turning towards the back of that little branch. It's maintaining its flat side so that this looks like the branch. maintaining a sort of dorsoventral shape laterally to us so that we're not seeing the broad side of it, just that white belly stripe. Known as the flap-necked chameleon. There are two flaps on the back of the head that shield the back of the neck. Okay, let's leave the child alone. It's probably aiming for a spot somewhere in that guarri bush to sleep for the night. And a very, very lucky spot. So we can back to the other story. See how I'm distracted. It takes me a while to finish answering some of the questions we get, but I hope you're patient with me and I suppose justifiable distractions. Venom on animals. Some venoms are so powerful that they can kill even an elephant. But having said all of that, generally in nature there are exceptions to the rule, and I'm distracted again. There is the tiniest of tiny terrapins, new hatched terrapin, going to come into the left side of the road. That's about, and maybe a shell of 2 inches across at the most. Tiny little thing, looking for a pond. Hatchling terrapin. Wow. Reptiles are out in force today. Could this mean thunderstorms? Chatting to my buddy who used to be at Arathusa, he's now, maybe that's why the terrapins are, there are termites erupting here. I don't know if the terrapin is going to get any of them. The tiny little termites, winged termites that are erupting, and they're all flying out. It's going to bring. Can you see anything? No. I wonder if I should go and put my hand next to it just to show you the size of this child. I mean, this is tiny. This is about 1 inch wide and 2 inches long, 1.5 inches wide. Couldn't be more than a month out of its egg. You can actually see where the termites are coming out. Right, we had terrapins and tortoises, chameleon, now a snake and a lizard, and a skink, and all of the other strange, wonderful reptiles that wander through the bush. Monitor lizard. So, before I was interrupted. There are always exceptions. One of those exceptions is, oh, look at that, there we go. Tawny eagle jumping around eating termites. Raisa or RC. It might even have been a steppe eagle, I'm not sure, but the termites are erupting en masse at the moment. They're not the very big, there it is in the road, we're not going to disturb. If we can get a zoom, that looks like it could be a steppe eagle, not a lesser spotted. And it's flown off again. Can we get, I don't know if you can see the, not really. Maybe if you zoom in with that green background to where those winged, we would have to be down on Mumba Road looking into the sun to see. There you can see a lot of the, looks like fairies. Hundreds, if not thousands of termites flying into the air at the moment. Birds are going to be having absolute ball. Be lovely to find a flock of Amur falcon. Big termites. These are sort of medium-sized termites. I'm not too sure which species they are. They're just erupting out of holes in the ground. They're no tunnels, they're no... I'm going to try and head just reverse down here onto this Mumba Road crossing. We might just get a view. If we look into the sun, I don't know how the camera will be able to maybe get through the windows as they fly up. Maybe if you just have the dark background as they're erupting without too much sky. More of the... There we go, sort of like that. It's like bubbles just rising, the sun reflecting through their wings. I can't believe there aren't more bee eaters and flycatchers, and or maybe it's only just begun. Hard to sort of capture that without a macro. Interesting phenomena that we have in summer when the termite colony releases to place. Looks like that was a burn. Was that Alex? I didn't see. Oh, there. That was Alex. Going somewhere. Back to the venom story. No, the venom answer. That's for Anne, I think. There's some animals that are the exception. One of them is the honey badger. The honey badger is known to have been bitten by things like cobra and puff adder, and they virtually shrug off the venom after a while. So I don't know whether it's an immunity or it's just a resistance or it's just a resilience. Venom is, after all, just a protein, and I guess one just has to have a very certain type of resistance to that protein that may develop over years as a result of maybe hunting that particular predator, that particular snake, and being bitten, and genes mutating to be able to handle that kind of venom. Mutant genes are what drives the very existence of the diversity of life that we have. If it wasn't for genes mutating to adapt to different different conditions, climates, and changes in the environment, no species would survive. So in all, the answer to the question is yes, animals are affected by venoms and poisons, but in very different ways, and very many of them are resistant. Not many, no. Some of them. There are some exceptions who are resistant. We take some of the venom, or rather no, the poison. There's a plum-coloured starling up ahead of us, velvet. Ah, it's gone. Purple velvet. Purple satin. Might get it again from the other road, but this is where we saw them the other day. Could well be that they must be nesting here somewhere. Violet-backed starling. starting to feel like the after effects of being hit by a 2x4 or flank. Not so much in the bruising, but in the weird sensation on my skin. A bit of tingling, but a bit of pain. Most of the swelling all went down within 2 hours. Ryan said it looked like I had Botox on this one side of my forehead, and it was feeling like it. It was almost that Novocaine feeling you get with a dentist, where it feels like it's all swollen, but it might not really be. It was that kind of feeling with the sting to it, the scorpion sting, that particular venom has. So thanks for the concern too, by the way. I just thought it nice to just post that and say it's not only shoes you have to look at. If you leave anything on it, it doesn't matter where it is. But my hat, I don't know whether it was from overnight. My hat was resting on its brim as usual on the table in the room. So whether it was in the hat all morning, I don't know. Or whether it climbed in there. The thing is, it's a nocturnal species of scorpion, so I can't imagine what would have disturbed it during the day to have climbed into my hat once I got to our daytime roost. We have two roosts. We have a nighttime roost and a daytime roost, by the way. We overnight up in Manyaleti Game Reserve, and during the day we spend time down at Djuma. Treehouse Dam is looking pretty empty of large animals, mammals, birds. Weavers are still busy. Just gonna do a brief stop and continue on our way. Drongos are drinking. Was drinking. Drongo drinks on the wing. Splashes down at the swoops down and scoops water up with the beak, wings actually touching the water. Sometimes when I get distracted so much, I tend to forget where I ended off with the question, because I get onto a different tack completely. So if I haven't finished your question in the past, just do let us know. Ring some bells. Didn't get a good look at that eagle, but that could have been a tawny, and it could have been a steppe eagle. It was so too far away and too quick. But whatever it was jumping around on the ground catching those termites. Boy, if it wasn't for the light, we'd be able to have a better look at this cuckoo. Oh. Now it's sitting directly in the sunlight. European maybe, or African. One of the two. Pan through this sort of little mini forest we've got here. After having a few questions about monkey orange fruits, this is a stand of monkey orange. It's quite dense. You can see it's all the same kind of or small tree, but none of them, sadly, no fruits this time of the year. Not a single one. And now we're back into Combrita marula veld. Because the light is great if it stays there. No, that's good, almost good enough. The Birchall starling. It's got really pretty light at the moment, and it's the kind of light that you want to be looking at some of these iridescent birds, because generally if we don't have the side light and the right lighting on them, you can forget about appreciating the true colors. Oh, no, I'm not. Wondered why he was so quiet. I forgot. I do that. I get out, I forget. I need to be whipped into shape. Okay, now I am. Jammer goed. Having a conversation with a starling behind us. Goodbye, starling. Right, we're going to be driving a little bit. We're going to get to some of the questions that have come in while I've been unplugged. If Eric Clapton can be unplugged, and Bob Dylan can be unplugged, and I can be unplugged every now and then. Mark Weiner unplugged. Can't hear any questions from FC. Okay. Hello, Jane from Smithfield. Where's that? Arizona. Oh, dust. Road was worked on today. we'll have to just go slowly because staff vehicle flying through the reserve can actually lift dust on a wet day. Jane wants to know the difference between a turtle and a terrapin, or a tortoise, or all three. Well, I guess in a sense it's kind of semantics in some ways. It's kind of like the bug and beetle thing that I harp on often. It's kind of like there are a number of things that just get a general name, but in the true sense of what the creature is, I'm going to have to pause there because we have a vehicle. I'm going to have to probably greet and hello. Right, Arathusa. Hey, I'm enjoying the way.
Oh,
good, and you? Good. Hi, everybody. To your part of the world, though.
Yeah.
Want to go see what's around there?
There's some natty on the corner, yeah?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a bit quiet.
Yeah, here too.
Good job.
It's lovely. There's reptiles out. There's all sorts of things.
Let's see if we can see our baby hippo.
Oh.
It's about 3 days old.
Yeah, I think we've had it on the damn cam. A lot of the viewers have seen it on the camera. But it'd be nice to try and get a little bit closer to it. So it's normally quite close to the lodge, isn't it? Or,
yeah, it's just in front of it.
yeah, but I can't drive there.
No, you can drive on top of our open area. It's fine.
Okay. Bye. Have a lovely day. That might be an idea. Terrapins, turtles, and tortoises. As I say, it's semantics. But if we really want to be zoologically correct, essentially a tortoise is a chelonian. Chelonians are the family of these shelled creatures. Not all of them have hard shells, by the way. They're soft shell terrapins that have very rubbery type of shells. But essentially a tortoise is the one that lives on land. The turtle is the one that lives in the marine area, and the terrapin is the one that lives in fresh water. Now, I know there's such a thing called a box turtle, which is actually a tortoise, and there are other freshwater turtles that should be known as terrapins, but who am I to rock the world and rock the boat? We need to get off of this road pretty soon, I reckon. I suppose it's just naturally busy this time of day. But we'll get off of it. This is the main road, main access road into this part of the reserve for a number of lodges, in fact. And just a greeting to Mark Weiner. How's it doing? It's nice to meet you.
Anything today?
No, we got reptiles and flowers and birds and the little things that are popping out after the rain.
Oh, no, good.
Good. Hello, little one. That's only 2 months? Oh, gorgeous little thing. Cheers, nice to meet you. Did I finish that? No. Terrapins in fresh water and turtles in the sea. Physically, there are differences. There are very, very strong differences between a tortoise and a terrapin, because the tortoises, being on land, have much more, I suppose, box-like shells. Their feet are completely different. The turtles that live in fresh water, their feet are sort of a cross between the shape of the foot, or the type of foot that a tortoise has, and a turtle that lives in the ocean, because they don't have flippers like turtles in the ocean. They are not permanently swimming the way turtles are in the ocean. Terrapins have claws. They have somewhat flattened feet for swimming, but they do need to clamber up on rocks and hippos' backs and logs and scramble up onto very steep banks to be able to sun themselves and, of course, regulate their body temperature. So they have claws, and I suppose that's one of the fundamental physical differences between a terrapin and a turtle, because turtles all have swimming flippers, maybe vestigial claws, I think, in some of the turtles. I hope that gets your question. Just thinking where the mast is, and if we can stick to fairly high ground out here, we should be fine. Yes. Sure, can do that now. Okay, so I'm going to venture onto Arathusa. Here we're going into, for me, a new road. And while we venture, because this is going into the sun, and I want to sort of, when the sun gets a lot lower, I want to be driving back towards Gari. So while we're heading into the sun to sort of the western part of this part of Arathusa, I'm going to hand you back to Alex, and let's see what Alex can find for you wherever he may be. So I'll see you in a short while, everybody. Enjoy your time with Alex.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you've been having a good time so far. My name's Jason on the camera. We're just having a drive around, checking all the dams on the borders of the property. Now heading north towards the dam, just to see what we can find. We have been following some elephant tracks, but no. So fingers crossed we do find something a bit husky-tusky, but at the moment we've not really had a great deal of fortune so far. A few birds, but nothing out of the ordinary. So we've had a few Cape turtle doves, a few red-billed hornbills, but nothing too large. Well, yeah, we're just having a nice, relaxing explore around, really. Just keeping our eyes peeled, listening to the Game Drive channel as well. But yeah, we're just generally making sure that Jigger is going to be fully functional for the remainder of the time. So again, fingers crossed, nothing untoward happens to the vehicle. We seem to be having quite a lot of birds refuse to get away at the moment. This is probably about the 8th Cape turtle dove that refuses to get off the road. But as ever, we're keeping an eye out for interesting species to show you. Sorry for the bumps. So, as I said, we've been checking out some of the dams to sell the Djuma property, but no luck as yet. Oop. Franklin's and some squirrels in the road. I wonder if we can get a nice shot of this tree squirrel if I poke my head gently around this corner. Stay still, please, mate. Stay still, stay still. Not sure if Jason will be able to get him. Hopefully he'll freeze. There we go. How cute is he? This is the tree squirrel, South African tree squirrel, also known as the white-bellied squirrel. They always kind of remind me of, I've forgotten his name though, the kind of squirrel thing from Ice Age. Very cute and very cheeky. Now, one of the interesting things about these guys is when they collect their seeds, their nuts, or anything, and they want to bury it, they can either lick it, and they've got these scent glands in their mouth. Now, they'll deposit their scent on the nuts or the seeds or the pods, and when they bury them, they can actually find them or relocate them up to about 6 to 9 months later, which is pretty astonishing, really. And now these guys are pretty much arboreal, which means they prefer living in trees. They do come down to forage for food, obviously. Very sweet. They are quite territorial as well. He's just making sure we're not going to cause him any harm whatsoever. I think he's playing statues at the moment. Now, you're probably already aware, but if you do have any questions, please be sure to send them in to us at questions@wildearth.tv, or you can tweet us at #SafariLive. I'm pretty sure this guy's still alive. He's not moved for a few seconds, which is pretty unusual for a squirrel. Usually they're pretty hectic. Oh no, there he is, he's blinking, he's still alive. I love these little guys. I can sit and watch them for hours. Now these guys are related. Okay, these guys are related. Okay, as I was saying, these guys are related to the prairie dogs and North American squirrels and European squirrels. Obviously, just different variations and different adaptations to suit their environment. This guy's properly posing. Maybe he's displaying the same sort of camouflage behaviour that some antelope display, where if he doesn't move, he thinks that we can't see him. Sorry buddy, you've got a few thousand people watching you. Okay, I think we'll leave this guy to it. We'll continue on and see what else we can find. Now, as I'm making Jason's life a little bit difficult by popping my head over the side of the vehicle and just checking for tracks or spoor. I'd like to click. Just going to back. I think we're going to take a right. Actually, no we're not. We're going to go left. There's some Franklins on the road and hopefully we're quiet enough and not move too quickly. We'll get a good view of them because they have got some adorable little ones with them. I can zoom quite well with this camera, so if I just stop myself about here and get a nice zoom on them. How sweet is that? Okay, so ones that we're looking at here are the crested Franklins. That's very sweet. So this will be a breeding pair, and they've got 4 little chicks with them. These guys are fairly common in these sort of areas, so it's like they're habitual to woodlands and savannas. They're just out for a nice afternoon stroll, just chomping on any small insects that they can find. Okay, we're just going to follow these guys for a little bit. I'm not going to try to forcibly push them off the road because we don't like to do that. So if they do leave the road, it'll hopefully be by their own accord. We don't want to pressure them too much or separate them. It might cause them a little bit of distress, which we don't want to do. Today definitely seems to be a bird in the road day for us today. I suppose this is the bush version of a traffic jam. Okay, just going to move slightly to the left, maybe on to the right, so we might just squeeze past them. Perhaps not. Dad's taken for a stroll down the middle of the road. He's just being a bit brazen at the moment. Now you can tell the one on the left is the male because he's slightly brighter coloured than the female. The female, even though she is in the shadows, she's just a little bit duller than he is. Just switch off again. I love the way the little ones just kind of scurry, chasing after the parents. Wait for me. Now you do get several different types of francolin. It's probably about 4 or 5 different species of francolin. Obviously, not all will be resident here. But you will get them fairly common all over South Africa or Southern Africa, depending on the species. Right, okay, these guys seem to be moving.
Okay, copy. Well, welcome back. I'm driving on a road I've never seen before. I'm not too worried about getting lost because I have maps and things. Oh, what a squirrel. What nesting material? Was it feeding? Tried to jump and he's missed. Whoa, nice little leap. Flower head of a grass in its mouth. So we're on a patch of Arathusa. Hopefully signal's going to hold out. We're on fairly high ground. New road. As far as I know, this road's known as Elephant Walk or Elephant Way. And there was some very recent signs of elephant further back in a mud wallow where they'd obviously been having a big mud bath. Knocked a few trees over. So I'm hoping I can maybe find one of them. But this seems to be an afternoon for little things. We sometimes spend too much time on all the big claws and jaws, and we don't get time to see these little things. Like this pair of Coqui Francolin in the road. But yeah, change the angle of the camera because I'm parked on a slope. Looks like he's actually finding food for her. There we go, see that? He found a morsel there again. Pecks at it and kills it as an insect and lets her eat it. So he's being super attentive to his female. There we go, once again. Maybe it's time for breeding. Unless she's going to give him something. Could just be pair bonding. But generally it's a sign of courtship and a strengthening of her bond to him, or their bond together, to ensure that he's not interrupted in his courtship of her, and that his genes are the ones that, I suppose, carry on to the next generation. The Coqui Francolin, very dainty and very pretty little Francolin, but very, very special to see how intimate nature can be. Here we have a male Francolin that's actually physically showing his wife some food. She's taking a few things on her own, but I think she's actually relying on him. She's not as actively looking for food as he is. Maybe we'll creep up the road a little bit and see. Maintain aspect ratio. Maintain gimbal balance. Okay, we don't want to push you too far, little children. Just enough to watch you climb up there into the sun. We can see you in the sun. Hidden from our timeline. Not a very common species of bird that we don't see them too often. A lot of the Francolins can be a little bit dull looking. These are really pretty, but now I don't want them to split up. She's gone off to the left. Come, little boy, off you go. Go find your missus. She's hungry. No, not on the road. You want to go in the bush. What, really? I've got to take the right fork. I don't want to take the right fork. I want to go see the baby hippo. There we go. Come back to the wife. Yes, there. Now, where should I go from here? Consulting. Stick to this side. Trying to catch snippets on the radio, but it's not very easy. I just put something on the radio. I just want to find out where it is, but I don't think. No, it's obviously not on this property. Not on this part of the world. I shouldn't consider it. Evidently some wild dogs somewhere, but it's not into none of these roads on this property, where we're allowed to drive. But they're heading east. Sadly, heading east from another property means that they're not going to be going on to Djuma, and only if things go north, really, they go on to Djuma. This road should take us sort of towards Arathusa Dam, and we want to go and have a look, see if we can see that baby hippo, maybe from a different angle or something. Not too sure where it would be within the dam, but this might be an idea. After a day like this, it would probably start getting restless around about now. I think it might be an idea too, once we've done there, maybe head up towards Zoe's Road and Hyena Den. Hyena tracks over here. There's talk on the radio of Shivambalana on a kill, so Shivambalana has killed something. She didn't get what it was, but he's on a property far to the east as well. We'll have the camp off to our left pretty soon. Come on, cats. Cats and elephants. Oh. Funny how nobody's reported an elephant. This is another wonderful thing about how these drives work, in that one day there can be elephants everywhere. I mean, last week pretty much almost every day there were herds of elephant and bulls. There were times when we even perhaps ignored the elephant to some degree. There's the lodge down there. See if we can get around this way. No, not even a single vehicle has reported any sightings of elephant. There's clearly elephant dung, fresh elephant dung and elephant tracks around, but this is the way the bush works. We are totally at the mercy of being in the right place at the right time. Coming across animals where they just happen to be crossing their paths and you just happen to be in the right place in the universe at that moment. I don't know, we might be, yeah, should have been further that way. We're going to miss the dam. We're going to have to go around. Well, maybe there's a road here actually. Yep, thought so. Getting worried that I wasn't sure what I was seeing on the map. So head out this way. This should bring us fairly close to the dam. On the opposite side of the dam to the left. Maybe a glimpse of a little hippo popping its head out of the water. Hopefully fairly close by. And hopefully getting a little bit because it's been sleeping all day and drinking milk all day. Look at this, is a really beautiful view of Arathusa Lodge. That might be Mum back there. We'll have to stop and look carefully. I'm going to just a little bit further on. Really beautiful setting here at Arathusa. And now to find the little one. Where's the camera at this dam? There it is, I see it. New pole at the opposite side there. A lot of noise in the buffalo weaver's nest. Clearly the buffalo weavers have got youngsters. I recognize that little sound. Egyptian geese, you can see some vervets. Lovely little forest of dead leadwoods. Yeah, there's a little one. Just poking its head above Mum. If we go a little bit left, well, after the yawning display, wonderful hippo display there, and a little bit more left, there you go. There's Mum lying from sort of facing the right, and the little one's head just behind her, sort of behind her neck, resting its head on her neck. Tiny little thing, smaller than a warthog. It's only a few days old, maybe I think about a week at the most. We're being looked at. Yawning. No, no, don't. Maybe it'll... Just what I was waiting for, some vocalization. Well, let's carry on. We're going to head back and... Oh, the pile have come spotting. This is a whole nursery group, funny enough. And I think I'm going to stay right here. There are... This is very interesting. We've got to turn around for this. These impala lambs are stutting and they're going for chul. That's very interesting to watch. Hopefully we'll get to see them coming back out again. I think it's the adults are putting them through sort of a drill. Unfortunately, they've all run back into the tree line. I'm gonna hope that maybe they'll come back again. There isn't a predator, but what they're doing is that they're sort of putting the youngsters through the paces of escaping from predators and what to do in case. Like we'd have earthquake drill or fire drill in the schools. Impala, the lambs that have been born this season, which are now probably in the region of 2 to 3 weeks old, some of them. Here they come, here they come, here they come. Ta-dum, 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 ta-dum. Stutting and flashing their tails white above their backs. And learning how to kick their back legs up. And when they kick their back legs up in that fashion, ordinarily as adults they'll be emitting a danger pheromone from the back legs. Notice it's only the children that are doing this. They just got too much energy, as do all children. The females are all just browsing and grazing just behind the tree line, quite content to let the little ones go mad. Did you catch them coming out like that? Mm-hmm. Well, let's wait. Here they come again. Alright. Here comes another wave. This is too gorgeous. Such a rare moment to watch something like this, because in a couple of months' time, this is all going to be part of a actual escape from predators. And as they start growing, they no longer go through this sort of ritual of the nursery, the entire nursery, running around like crazy kids. Looks like some nyala in the bushes here too. I wonder what the nyala think of this whole exercise.
There's a small antelope over here.
Nonsense, there's nothing.
Look at them all here in the microphone.
Okay. Maybe if he can relay messages, because I'm not picking up anything. I'm just picking up static, and I can't pick up anything on this radio. I was heading up towards the airstrip. Something's going on up at the airstrip. Okay, looks like one of the females came out and came to collect the child and say, enough being silly. Move along. That was very special, seeing that behavior. Kindergarten, doing predator drill, lion drill, leopard drill. Maybe if we get closer to the airstrip, I can pick up some chatter. But what I can tell is cutting across windmill. It might be the dogs that have already come this way. But unfortunately, it sounds like a lot of responding. Little Nyala. What are you doing, child? Where's your mother? Very little Nyala. Where's your mother? Must be close by. I'm not going to be able to head up there immediately. It sounds like they are picking up snatches of chatter. There are so many vehicles that we will not be able to get there very soon. So 2 vehicles and 3 on standby. Second and third. So I'm assuming that it's something like the dogs. Sounds like it's something moving. No, not now. I missed it. Alright, carry on. Sounds like the question's coming from Jilly in the UK, asking or referring to sorry, turn that down, I can't talk with that noise. From a quiet radio, suddenly you can't get a word in edgeways, everybody's trying to talk at once. Mayhem. Jilly's saying that further to a discussion we were having about leaving animals who are sick or injured and letting nature take its course, asking if the park holds any responsibility at all towards any of the animals, and yes, most certainly they do. I mean, particularly some of the that we just lose within, particularly towards some of the animals whose numbers are threatened in the world at the moment. I mean, particularly things like cheetah, wild dog, lion, elephant, those other animals, I forget what they're called, that are nearly extinct now because we'll see you shortly.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to still a so far. Still, unfortunately, not having a huge amount of fortune in finding anything too special. I've seen a few antelope, some impala, a couple of duiker, but they didn't really stick around long enough for us to get a good picture and get some interesting behaviour. They seemed a bit nervous and a bit shy, so when we got a bit close they kind of made a bolt for it. So we're just having still a bit more of an explore around, following up on a few tracks and dropping radio, excuse me, and seeing what we can come up with. But unfortunately it's been a bit fruitless so far, but we're never despondent. We're always hopeful that we will come across something. As this Hayden used to say, you never know what's around the next corner. So I hope you've been enjoying yourselves with Mark. So we're just coming onto an area known as Impala Plains. Ooh. And just as I said, we're not having much luck. Just ahead we appear to have a solitary side-striped jackal. Now, it may be the same one that we saw yesterday after we saw the breeding pair. So we'll just see if we can get a little bit closer to this guy. Maybe not make him too nervous, but just see what activity he's up to, because he's if it is the same one that we saw yesterday, he was a little bit timid when we stopped to say hello to him. Just pull off the road a little bit and switch off, be a bit quiet, and as soon as I say that, he looks as though he's going to scamper down the road. Now you can see the crown plovers, or crown lapwings, whichever you prefer to call them, just keeping an eye on him and just making sure that he's keeping a safe distance from them and potentially from any nests that might be nearby. He's such a beautiful creature. I love his coat. You clearly see that stripe that runs down the side of his body. Now they do look like they're quite soft and fluffy, but their coat is quite coarse. So see if you can just follow him down the road slightly. Just headed off around the bend. So if we move at a fairly gentle pace, we might be able to keep up with him a little bit without him diving off the road. He's come to say hello. Hello, mate. Now that's a lovely shot. Just the late afternoon golden sunlight just poking through the tips of the grass there. Oh, okay. You can go that way, do you? Okay. Well, this guy just gone down the bush there. Let's see if he pops out. He's not actually being too timid, which is quite nice. Usually these guys are quite shy. That's a lovely shot. Look at that. Fantastic. Pretty good lighting there as well, so any photographers out there? Oh, excuse me, that's my keeping my camera out. Not that I'm saying I'm a photographer, but I do like these guys, really good. Okay, so if we can keep up with them for a little bit. We'll see what this guy leads us to. Okay. Now it looks as though he's just on a bit of a prowl, a bit of a mission to find some, possibly find some dinner. That's fantastic lighting, look at that. These guys usually mate, stay together for quite a while. So I'm kind of wondering if he has actually managed to find a mate as yet. And if he has, oh, what's happened? Well, I'm saying it's a he, I can't really tell from here. But these eyes in the inscription usually mate quite a long time, usually for life. And monogamous. So excuse the bumps, guys. Just there, just to our right there, about 3 o'clock-ish. Switch the engine off for you. There he goes. Now he seems to have picked up the scent of something because he seems to be quite active. He doesn't seem too fazed by our presence, which is nice. But even so, we don't want to pressure him too much and make him nervous. Hopefully, he'll give us some nice. Oh wow, that's a lovely shot. You can clearly see that stripe that runs down the side of his body, or her body, and that lovely thick bushy tail. you can now see kind of clearly. Somebody asked the question yesterday if these guys were related to coyotes, or they were the African version of coyotes. You can kind of clearly see now that they more resemble a fox more than anything. Now, he seems to be quite interested in something that's going to be in this area, so I don't know if he's on the hunt or if there's potentially any more jackals in the area. Okay, let's do a quick U-turn because usually we can only go off-road when it's some of the larger predators, not usually for some of the smaller things. So let's go find a place to turn around. Come back around the corner. Yeah, it seems to be having a few birds just to the left of us, which are making a bit of a ruckus and possibly mobbing him. Just giving him a bit of a warning just to kind of stay away. If he has gone into the thickets, it's one of them not really, we're not supposed to follow him into. It's only the larger animals that we've actually got permission, or any of the rangers really, are supposed to actually go off-road to see. Oh look, there he is, he's popped out, thankfully. Well spotted Jason. I was keeping my eyes in the thickets, but he bobbed out ahead of us. Those crown plovers are definitely keeping an eye on. This guy seems to be kind of doing circles in this area. So I wonder if there's anything else that's kind of giving him a bit of a, and making him be a little bit more wary, or just a little bit more alert, and just having a good exploration around. That's a nice shot if you can get it actually. Just through there, some nice lighting, nicely framed. Let's pull forward just a smidge. Oh no, he's decided to go for a walk. I love the colorations on these guys, they're just so pretty. He's going to tootle off into the undergrowth there. So what we'll do is we'll continue on the route that I kind of had in mind, and we'll see what happens. He does seem to have a bit of an intent with his mission, whatever mission that may be. He's kind of heading in the direction he wants to go in anyway, so you never know. Beautiful to do at the moment, it's absolutely fantastic. A bit of luck, if the cloud does clear slightly, we should be in for a fairly spectacular South African sunset. So if it does break into a nice sunset, I hope you guys are prepared for a nice sundowning session. gear. Oh wow, look at this. If Jason can get it onto it, there's lots of dwarf mongoose, or mongoose, just on the road ahead of us. Having a good play around. Very sweet little creatures, I love those. Oh wow, I'm not sure if we'll get in trouble for this one, but if we just pan to the right, some beautiful light just breaking through those clouds. It's absolutely superb. That's nice. Pan, sorry to do this, with a nice woodland kingfisher just on the road ahead of us. And with the coloration of the sand just there, you can get a nice contrast to the colours of this guy. Fantastic blue coloration. Obviously foraging for insects. Just a little bit. Oh, I'm not sure if the sound can pick up. There's a woodpecker in the background somewhere. Okay, we're just going to move forward, continue on our planned route. Sorry, I just got VM in control. I didn't quite copy his question. Just bear with me. Sorry, copy again please, Vim. I'm keeping an eye out for any spoor or tracks. Earlier when we were checking out some of the routes and some of the dams, I did come across the lion tracks that we did come across the other day, and had a bit of a theory because when we took a road to explore a northern part of the gully, we lost the tracks. It does look as though they went on the other side of the gully, which is unfortunate. If we'd have taken another road, we may well have found them. But never know. Come back.
Beautiful late afternoon light. Perfect summer evening, perfect summer sunset with a little bit of cloud in the sky. Going to be quite pretty later on in a short while. some buffalo out here at a place called Buffalo Pan, some zebra here on the edge of the airstrip. We're going to just head a little bit closer to them, trying to establish what activity is going on up here. I believe, well, it got very confusing because I was listening to 3 radio channels at once and I thought I was only on one channel. There might be different places, but a lot of them have the same names for things. So I want to stop with these buffalo and maybe get a view of those zebra in the distance. I need to switch the car off to be able to talk to these guys about whatever it is that we can maybe see here on Arathusa. Got a lovely vista, very wide view of an African summer's evening. Lesser black-winged plovers, lots of them. Interesting that there's a bunch of old bulls here and one calf. I wonder what one buffalo calf is doing with these old boys. Which station on lock on wrong radio? Let me just move, and I'll just have to stay here. They'll have to come the other side of us. And maybe I'll get some idea of what's going on from whoever this is. Yeah, nice one. Cheap jockey. Which station on lock on Safari Driveway? Nothing. Yeah, Mark your Wild Earth. Just want to confirm, is that Ingwe? I'm up on Buffalo Pan on the airstrip. I was just wondering what whether there was space down there. Yeah, firm, please. It's alright, I'll go back to Western Channel. That is awesome. It's been a long time since we've had a bit of a sunset, and just a really beautiful view from up here, looking west on let's move along. I've been listening to through the radio. I'm trying to make sense of what's going on. I've been working in this game for a long time, but there seems to be a different dynamic happening on the radio that makes me feel really old-fashioned and a little bit out of sync. There's talk of Salayeshe, but I can't find out where that is. Sounds like it could be on Hoffman. Talk of, whoops, what happened there? Is that HDMI box that's doing it? I went to like screen on my monitor. Came up with a message. It said something about HDMI, top right of the screen. Whew. Sounds like there were some dogs on Buffalo, and now there's some dogs here on somewhere on Arathusa with a number of vehicles on standby still. It'll be dark before we get a chance to get in there, and by then we can't shine lights on the wild dogs, so I'm gonna have to try and monitor it and see where they go. They sound like they weren't far from where the airstrip, where we were now with those buffalo and the zebra and the impala and that lovely vista, that lovely view. But I should not be in the area where there is a sighting and there are already vehicles there, because if they start coming my way and sighting or they bump me, it's not going to go down too well. Giraffe at a salad bar. Let's sneak up a little bit closer. Station with my Dutch. If there's no standby for that, I'd like to come in. Let's see, let's make our way there. The radio's breaking up, but I think let's just make our way. Sorry, Giraffe, to move past you, but I wonder where... Don't even know if we're going to make it. Bye-bye, Mrs. G. I'm not getting any answers. I don't even know if the radio's working. Maybe we just stay with her. might just go barging in, so I've got to wait until I get a reply. Very interesting question from Bobby on Twitter. When we see giraffe either drinking or bending down to pick things up off of the ground, they whip their heads up fast. Bobby wants to know what it is or how it is that when giraffe do whip their heads up after being so low, how is it they don't get dizzy or they don't have this blood rush the way we do? And the answer is actually a network of veins and arteries in the neck that almost have valves in them that reduce the amount of blood flow to the head, because you have to remember that they've got a very large heart and a very high blood pressure to, well, the pressure that is needed to pump blood to the brain is obviously going to cause a problem if a giraffe didn't have such mechanisms in its neck whenever it put its head lower than its heart. So while it doesn't close the blood, it constricts the blood flow or restricts the blood flow to the brain, and that allows, I suppose, just the right amount of oxygen to reach the brain, but prevents the giraffe from having these extreme blood rushes when it lifts its head again. I suppose they're kind of like valves, but they are, call them pressure reducing valves. She's eating off of the Balanites, the torchwood, which has very, very hard and sharp spines. She's able to, with her tongue, manipulate leaves off of the branchlets and the branches, and totally disregard, to some extent, disregard all those spines. Beautiful color sky behind her. Almost, and that knobthorn in the background is almost very typically umbrella shaped. Very beautiful African scene. The acacia and the giraffe and a pink sky. Much like the dawn chorus, early in the morning is a very significant part of the day as far as sounds are concerned. Right now, with the sunset, it's very similar in that there are the sort of the day at time, the diurnal sounds quietening down, and soon the night sounds will wake up. The first really clear night after some cloud and rain, so it's good. I'm expecting there might be some activity around tonight. I want to just move forward a bit. Sometimes nice to just sit and listen quietly. Well, madam, thank you for the lovely show. She's really been accommodating. I did hear some oxpeckers fly up further into the bush, deeper into the bush. I'm guessing that it's other giraffe that might be in there. She's looking back in the direction where she came, where I heard some oxpeckers, so it could be she's waiting for other herd members. Looking at us. Very pretty giraffe. Yeah, I was trying to get a standby. But Skoloko, are you copying me? Okay, I'm back on Triple M. I'll see if I can make it down driveway. I'm running. But keep me updated, please. Okay, copy. Now I'm going to head back to West Gary. Thanks. Maybe try again in the morning. Still vehicles on standby. And let's see. That signal through that. Go again. Good try. Good try. Try something. Take a chance. What is life without chances? Time-wise, we are running low, or running late, not late, running low on time. All we need is for them to go further east. They're going to be heading a bit south now. I think we might get there. I think it sounded like one of the vehicles was leaving, which means that by the time we get there, there might be a space for us to see it, because the last vehicle has gone in now. It's taken this long for all the standby vehicles to move through. What it is there's a very strict limit on the number of vehicles that can be with certain animals, and with only 2 vehicles allowed in the sighting, and having had a fairly quiet afternoon generally, in terms of predators, I'm sure a lot of the guys have been itching to show their guests something special, and so they must have come from various different areas to try and see these wild dogs. Because of the limitation to the number of vehicles, it's sometimes necessary to limit the time frame that vehicles are allowed to spend with particular animals, and obviously with a number of vehicles wanting to view them, it takes time for us to get our turn. But we shall see. It's not too far. It's another five minutes in, which means we might get 5 minutes with them before it gets dark. Particularly sort of try to hang around just in case we might get this opportunity towards the end of drive. And, well, we might. We'll see. We've got to get across the airstrip again. A little bit bumpy to get there. It's better to wait until all the vehicles have had their turn and they've all moved on again. A lot of them will be heading off to provide sundowner drinks for their guests. Probably trying to make it elsewhere out of the area. So the chances of someone else coming now are pretty slim. With a little bit of luck. See, that's coming through behind. Station with my Dutch. Ooh. Okay, I've just crossed the airstrip. What's my best approach? Thing. Fine. So, if we'd stayed with those buffalo, they would have probably come out somewhere there. They're on the run. They were at Arathusa, further where we were headed, but they're running south. Could be, nobody can see them at the moment. Interestingly, one of the both Egyptian geese that are normally at that pan are here. Are you following the geese while I'm driving? Nice try. So far, zebra pretty calm. The impala here on this end. I know there were some impala further up on the airstrip. Yeah, Mark, I'm coming up to Buffalo Plain now. Yeah, fam. Check up in. Road. So we've got to go past. I would imagine this would be central. We might just get to see them. Hello buffalo, sorry to disturb you. What is this little boy doing with the old man? I'm not your mother. No. Sorry, buffalo. catch them on this road. Might get a brief glimpse before we have to say goodnight. Yeah, Mark, yeah? I'm on Central East. Okay, copy. Are they still mobile? Okay, absolutely. 2. Who's that? Okay, as long as you come back to me, I think I've got dogs. Stay in the road. Okay, I got one now on Lele. Thanks for standing by. Copy, thanks. Oh, there was one here on the road. Here we go, right in front of us. Right, copied. Yeah, I got one on the Lele. Oh, there's a quick glimpse. I don't even know. Are we still on? They're starting to head deeper in. They're all over the place, and this is just very thick with monkey orange. There we go. Just off to our right, running parallel to the road. 2, 3. I can see some submissive behavior. Looks like they're approaching the rest of the pack. There we go. Looks like they might be settling down here a little bit. Yep, slowed down. No, trotting again. Move. There's a vehicle in here already as well today. Okay, coming straight for us. They seem to be sniffing around. These are dogs on the move, dogs on the hunt. Yeah, right next to us as well. One trotting right next to us at the moment. So they are totally unconcerned with our presence. These dogs are no doubt, by the looks of things, been on a bit of a hunt. Yeah, another one running past us. But that's a heading back to the driveway. And another one running past us. And another one coming behind us. Oh no, most of them are heading north now. Okay. And they're in there drinking. Great. Just for that last bit, we're going to run late. We're going to have to run a little bit late today because this is just too good to... They're running around this little open patch. Seems to be an old quarry maybe that's got some old thatched grasses. There we go. Wonderful interaction. From what I've heard on the radio, most people have been following either one or two of the dogs, and they're now all reunited. 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 11. Okay, now 11, my Dutch just off Arathusa driveway, static again in the old quarry. Okay, let's move a little bit in.
Can we get some lights on?
Yeah, please let it run a little bit later. I can't really put lights on them though. Last station, go again. Negative, I'm on my own. Yeah, sure, no, it's good. 5-5 visual, just off the road where there's Majani being packed in Mgoti. What looks like a lot of hay is actually a lot of thatching grass that has come off of a roof. It helps to combat erosion. This is clearly, it seems to be an old quarry where sand maybe been taken out for building the lodge or taken out for roads in the past. Maybe when this was still a farming area this was used for other reasons, but one way to rehabilitate is to pack it with branches, and even the thatch helps. So it's like one big giant bed for them. Youngsters are playing. The radio is still making a noise. So, like the lion the other day, I don't know where to look first because they're full of energy. I mentioned this morning that to Jack, I don't know if Jack's watching, Long Island Jack, that hopefully we'd find some dogs today. Each dog has its own particular pattern. Each dog unique. very important to sometimes get side, in particular the left side. In the wild dog study that's being done now to try and track the last remaining dogs. I think the last I heard there were less than 400 wild dog left in the wild in southern Africa. And one is able to monitor that because each dog is so distinct in its patterning, and each pack is so distinct in perhaps in its area and the amount of ground that it covers. But also through the efforts of the wild dog study that has prompted people to send in photographs, particularly of the left side of the dog, left profile. Very tight-knit family. We've only got an alpha male and alpha female who do the breeding. Other males, and sometimes you have a higher ratio of males to females, but all other adults within the pack are non-breeding adults.
Nope. Need lights on.
No, can't gain higher, and I can't put lights on them. It is very bad etiquette, and it seems like they're off again. Look, one dog, probably one of the alphas, those were adults that have run off. I think they're leaving some of the pups to play. The three of the adults heading back to us. Mark, you go. That's okay, yeah, I'm going to have to leave them soon, getting too dark for camera. As much as I would love to be able to see more of them, I'm glad that we managed to get them just in end of drive. They are around, they might be on Djuma tomorrow. Not really any way to tell which way they're going to go. It might be that they might bed down here during the night. It'd be a good idea to see what they might do. All indications show that some of these adults are running off towards the south. They seem to be interested in something to the south because they went that way. They were lost and then they came back. They were sort of very spread out, most likely hunting, maybe even picking up the odd impala lamb. But especially because these are puppies, I particularly don't want to use any lights. If there are any other nocturnal predators around, give the advantage to the other predators, and it could be detrimental to these puppies. So I'm looking at it. I think some of the pups are probably, I don't know, just pack even, but I'd say probably in the region of 6-8 months old. There's a big male, probably one of the male nurses. And I suppose on that note it's time to say goodnight, and we're going to have to head back to camp. Maybe we can just put on the internal light.
Yeah, that's not going to help with the wildlife.
Pardon?
I can see you now.
Yeah. No, we can't shine it on wildlife anyway. I don't mind if a lion sees me. But a wonderful way to finish today, and I'm very glad that we managed to come up to Arathusa, and I'm thankful to Arathusa for allowing us this traversing. But a really fantastic afternoon, just a lovely slow drive, seeing some of the smaller things, and ending with one of the most endangered species we have in in Africa at the moment. A very rare treat to be able to watch them, but also watch them playing. And I can only hope that they're going to be wandering our way, that we're going to get to see more of them during daylight hours. There are a number of things that we just don't do at night with lights, and wild dog are one of them, cheetah are another, elephant. Pretty much most of the things we see during the day, but when some of the bigger things, especially predators like these hunting dogs, they are very, very vulnerable to predation by some of the larger predators, even leopard. So we'll see you tomorrow morning. I think it'll be Scott and myself will be out on drive, and hope to get some more questions and some more views and ideas from you. Hashtag Safari Live is our Twitter thread, and questions at WildEarthTV for questions. My name is Mark. Brian, and I know I upset Little Thumb this morning, or this afternoon, because I didn't introduce the thumb. Brian, the thumb, myself on the vehicle. Viam is back in final control. Bye bye everybody. Have a wonderful day or a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Good night.